Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of League Chat with the Stat. Thank you again for joining me this week on another episode. I'm your host, Stat, and it's good to be back in the studio, let me tell you. I know there's been a couple of weeks here and there where I go away from the studio, but it's always good to be back and get back to the normal side of things in terms of where I am located. So it's good to be back here. Now, getting straight into it this evening and going straight to the NRL ladder. Now, obviously, there's been a couple of changes to the ladder, as you are well aware. Some things stay the same, but some things have changed. So, first, we've got Penrith on 27 points, 3 points clear now. You got the Storm coming second on 24, tied with Power on 24 as well. Only difference there is the for and against, and there's a 4-point buffer between third and fourth, Eagles, and the fourth is Roosters on 20 points. Now, the Raiders also on 20 at fifth. The Knights moving to sixth at 19 points. The seventh is Rabbitohs on 18 points, and the Sharks 16 points, which round up the top 8. Now, ninth, stock standard, is the Tigers, tied with Dragons, Seagulls, and Warriors in 10th, 11th, and 12th. You've got Titans at standalone 13th, and you've got the Cowboys and the Broncos on 6 points, and you have the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs on 4. And that is the ladder at the conclusion of round 15. Now, let's get straight into round 15 and some very interesting games that happened over the weekend. Now, first things first, Eels 14 defeating the Storm 0. Tries to Wonga Blake and Marcus Sevo, and Moses kicking 3 from 3, and Storm finishing on 0. Now, this game for me, I watched this game with a lot of intent, and I found that while it was a bit of a low-scoring game and a bit quieter than usual between these two sides, obviously the Storm missing a lot of players, I did think that there was a bit of inconsistency in the refereeing. I thought 2 bad calls gave Parra 2 tries, and it was very clear and very evident there. I also found a bit of inconsistency in blowing with the penalties for the crusher tackles. I know the NRL implemented a new suspension system for the crusher tackles to try to obliterate it from the game, which I understand. However, there were some tackles that weren't considered crusher tackles. That Cooper Johns copped one, unfortunately, but he got one report, but got cleared by the match review committee, which was good. But on Cooper Johns, it was his debut, and being the son of Matt Johns, there's always that bit of pressure. But I found that he didn't have the best night. Now, he had Riley Jacks as his halves partner, and I found that he really lacked without Jerome Hughes there. Obviously missing Jerome Hughes on top of Cameron Munster and Cameron Smith, which is 3/4 of their spine. I thought the halves really struggled to get some momentum going. And I really thought that with Cooper Johns being with someone like Riley Jacks, who isn't as experienced as Cameron Munster or Jerome Hughes, and even having Cameron Smith at the 9, really struggled as well. Didn't have his best game, and the result has been dropped. But look, none of this was just the debut, and I'm sure that when the time comes and if circumstances were to change, he would be playing with a lot more of an experienced half. Now, some standouts for me, look, you can't take it away from Parra. At the end of the day, they did take out the win and got a bit more confidence out of that. They would have got a lot more confidence knowing that they kept Storm to 0 as well, even though Storm didn't have all their big guns playing as well. Parra will take that in their stride. But I thought there were a few players that stood out for me. Usually for Parramatta, it's the 8 and 10 that stand out, but I thought this week was the 11, 12, and 13. Sean Lane, 17 runs, 169 metres, 74 post-contact metres, a line break assist, an offload, and 22 tackles. Ryan Madison, 12 runs, 136 metres, and he had a lot of involvement this game. He had a line break assist, a try assist, 5 offloads, and 54 tackles, which is good to see his return after sitting out a few weeks with concussion. And Nathan Brown, the man, just locking up the scrum there. 20 runs, 184 metres, 74 post-contact metres, 4 tackle breaks, 3 offloads, and 35 tackles, and another 70-odd minute performance from Big Brownie. And those guys have been holding the fort down for Parramatta in their forwards, which has been really good to see. But the standout for me for the Storm was Christian Welch. 18 runs, 175 metres, 82 post-contact metres, 3 tackle breaks, 4 offloads, and 37 tackles. I thought that was huge. Another big game from him, having to step up with so many missing from the forward pack as well. So, look, Eels 14 defeating the Storm 0, and Eels will take a lot of confidence heading from that game. The next game, Panthers 38, destroying the Sharks 12. 2 tries to Josh Mansell in his 150th game. Viliama Kikau, Brent Naden, Stephen Crichton, Liam Martin, and Jerome Luai also bagging a try as well, with Cleary kicking 5 goals from 7 attempts. And defeating the Sharks 12 with Jesse Ramian and Connor Tracy scoring tries and Matty Moreland got 2 from 2 goals. Now, 10th straight win for the Penrith Panthers, and they just dominated a depleted Sharks side, if I can be fair. Now, Sean Johnson was a late scratching. and obviously missing Chad Townsend as well. You could see that the halves really did struggle there. And the thing is as well with the Panthers, they're still missing a few players. They were missing Brian To'o, who's been out for the syndesmosis injury for a while. Also Kurt Capewell, who was their signing, the off-season signing from the Sharks. He's been missing since the second week back, or third week back since the NRL resumption. And they're still playing out of their skin. 10 straight wins. There's no form of them slowing down at all. And it's really good to see. You can just see how the team just gels as well. They're all really tight-knit. They're all really close. And 1-17, they all just dominate. And they've been so well this year. And again, 10th straight win. Taking over the Sharks, who, as I said, they lost Sean Johnson an hour before kickoff due to the birth of his son and a recurrence of that groin injury from the previous week. And they did struggle big time. And again, their defense has been pathetic. That's something they've been struggling with the whole year. They've missed over 20-30 tackles a game, which is very poor. While they do concede a lot of points, they also put on a lot of points. I think the Sharks would want this game back, and obviously having a lot of their reinforcements playing as well. But they were just hopeless, the Sharks. Having rookie halves, and Matt Moylan had a shocking game. Didn't really play that well and made a lot of errors, put in a lot of rubbish kicks. I thought it was a bit of a liability for the Sharks over the weekend. So, and they did struggle. But look, for my players that stood out for me for the week, James Tarmow, again, at age of 31, just killing it like he's playing like he's 23. 20 runs, 198 metres, 67 post-contact metres, a tackle break and 28 tackles. And a big effort from him, Isaiah Yeo, who has been one of my favourite players this year by far. 14 runs, 145 metres, 69 post-contact metres, a line break assist, a try assist, and 42 tackles. That ball he put in for kick out was beautiful. It was good to watch. And for the Sharks, it stood out Aaron Woods. 16 runs, 171 metres, 72 post-contact metres, a tackle break, and offload, and 32 tackles. And another big effort from Aaron Woods. So the Sharks need to go back to the drawing board and are waiting for some reinforcements to come back into their squad. But Panthers are just flying high at the moment, and they could be carrying this form all the way through to the grand final. So Penrith 38 defeating the Sharks 12. Now, the Dragons 28 defeating the Broncos 24. For the Dragons, Michaeli Ravalawa scoring 2 tries alongside Kerr Norman as well. Kerr Norman. And Zach Lomax slotting 6 from 7 goals. And defeating the Broncos 24, as I said. Tries to Richie Kenner, Corey Pay, Katoni Staggs, and Tom Dearden. And with Staggs kicking 4 from 4. Now, the Dragons started this game really hot. They came out of the blocks and scored 2 tries within 6 minutes. And with the caliber of the players they have in their squad, it's a decent squad. Again, it just looked like another game where Broncos just didn't care. But Broncos fought back in that first half to kind of almost even the game out there a little bit. Now, for the Broncos, Katoni Staggs and Tom Dearden had very solid games. But they've lost another game again. They just can't hold out they couldn't hold out the Dragons this weekend. They can't hold out any other team once they find a bit of a lead. And it was unfortunate as well because, as I said, Katoni Staggs, that individual try he scored, go down for me as one of the best this year. A big effort from him. The way he threw at Ewan Aiken just reminded me of how Mike Acevo threw Blake Ashford last year. And it was very easy to see that Katoni Staggs threw Ewan Aiken into a Warriors jersey very early. So it was good for him, but I thought Tom Dearden was fantastic as well. And I think over the last 3 weeks where Tom Dearden has been the starting half, he has been playing out of his skin. And he's been playing very well for an 18, 19-year-old kid. You'd think he's been playing with a lot more experience than what he has at the moment. But as I said, the Broncos lost another game, and it's only getting worse for them. They can't dig themselves out of this hole, and it's a very sad sight to see, as I've previously mentioned. Now, the standouts for me, Blake Lawrie, 16 runs, 174 metres, a tackle break, and 26 tackles. And a big effort from him. Played very well at leading up front with Paul Vaughan coming off the bench. I thought Cameron McInnes defensively, 47 tackles was a big effort. I thought he was one that stood out for me as well, on top of the guys that scored the tries. And look, I talk about him every week because he has just been so good for them. For the Broncos, Patrick Carrigan. A big 80-minute performance from him. Obviously, Broncos missing Payne Haas there as well. 25 runs, 258 meters, 104 post-contact meters, a tackle break, 2 offloads, and 46 tackles. I mean, he played out of his skin. He played so well, Patrick Carrigan, and it's players like him that makes me feel sorry for the Broncos and for how they're going this year and for the effort that he's been putting in, him and Payne Haas, when obviously Haas being suspended this week. But those two players, as I said, playing out of their skin, doing whatever they can to dig their side out of the current hole they're in, which has been very hard to watch. So, but the Dragons, again, too good and got the lollies at the end of the day. So, Dragons 28 defeating the Broncos 24. Now, this game was a very good one. Raiders 36 defeating the Gold Coast Titans 16. Tries to Nick Kotrick, a double to Nick Kotrick, a double to Jack Wyden, and tries to Tom Starling and Hudson Young. And Croker slotting in 6 from 7 goals. And defeating the Titans 16. Tries to Philip Sammy, to AJ Brimson and Keegan Hipgrave. And Fogarty slotting in 2 from 3 attempts. Now, that first half from Jack Wyden was just superb. Got their side out with 2 awesome tries. And got him out to 22-6 at halftime. And it was a cracker opening 40 minutes again for the Raiders. That set them up in the second half. Again, 22-6. Jack Wyden played out of his skin that game, that first half especially. He played so well. He dominated in every asset of the game. He copped the Titans napping so many times. And he just took advantage of the many injuries that the Titans are facing at the moment. And as I said, they got away with the win at the end of the day. Kotrick bagged the double as well. He played very well. But the Titans, again, they did struggle with too many errors. Ash Taylor injuring his quad prior to kickoff obviously didn't help the Titans as much either. But again, when you look at the Titans, and one thing they kind of went back a step again, unfortunately. When you take a look at how they played, you could say that the Titans didn't run over 100 meters. Apart from one player, they didn't run over 100 meters. And that one player was Jared Wallace. Again, the field position is key, and the Raiders dominated it. All their forwards clocked almost over 100 meters. All of them some got near 200 as well. But I think the play for me for that game was Josh Papali. Now, I watched this try saver over and over again. That try saver on Fogarty, again, we've seen it over the years where we've seen so many forwards who are so committed to the play, but obviously they are a little bit slow and don't get there and try to chase the backs. We've seen Tim Manor do it before he retired. We saw James Graham do it for a few years, putting in that commitment in defence and just running to the end of the field to try to do something even though the players are going to score. But Josh Papali's try saver on Jamal Fogarty, a big unit prop, took down a halfback with that beautiful ankle tap, is one of the best committed and most beautiful defensive displays I have seen from a prop forward all year. Without a doubt. That was just perfect. The way he got him, and he was running at 31 kilometers per hour, Josh Papali. That's blinding speeds for a front rower. And he didn't give up. I think that was one thing that caught me. He didn't give up. If the play looked like Fogarty was going to run the whole field and score. Coming off the 20-meter tap, caught the Raiders napping, caught them that hole in the defense, ran straight through. And I thought, yeah, look, I think he's got it. I don't think he'll get caught. But when Papali got him, I was like, oh, he got him. And it was just unbelievable to watch. Because you don't see it as often. It's very rare. But it was so good to see, again, a prop take down a younger, skillful half and someone who was a lot quicker. So it was awesome to see. And it's one of the reasons why Rick Stewart came out and said that he is one of the Raiders' best and someone that they would look back and say Josh Papali would be a Raiders legend. Based off that play and just how he's been over the last few years, has been an absolute standout. And speaking of Josh Papali, 4 lead runs, 155 metres, 65 post-contact metres, 3 offloads and 19 tackles. And Josh Papali came off the bench in that game and still racked up those massive numbers. And he brought on the responsibility, doing what was best for the team, to come off the bench as opposed to start, to give his body a bit of a break and to do what was best for the team. But Ryan Sutton, 21 runs, 205 metres, 91 post-contact metres and 25 tackles, which was a big effort from Ryan Sutton and probably one of the best games I've seen him play in the lime green jersey. And honestly, the standout for me for the Titans was just AJ Brimson. Again, none of the forwards did anything special for me to keep an eye out for. It was a try, 16 runs, 140 metres with 4 line breaks and 6 tackle breaks. AJ Brimson, again, another superb game and obviously killing it since he's been back from that serious back injury. So it's been really good to see. Now, the Roosters 38 defeating the Tigers 16 over at Leichhardt. Now, doubles to the Morris brothers and tries to Ikuvali, Drew Hutchinson and Joseph Manu. and Kyle Flanagan kicking 5 from 7 goals. And defeating the Tigers 16 tries to Jacob Little, Adam Dwyer, David Norfoluma, and Moses Mbai kicking 2 goals from 3 attempts. Now, already for the Roosters was a massive difference in having some experience return to their side. They had Brett Morris and Jared Hargraves come back into the squad this week, and the experience showed. You know, Jared Hargraves, another monster effort from him in the front row, and Brett Morris scoring those 2 tries. Really lifting the side there, and good to see Flanagan and Hutchinson playing brilliantly together for the first time I believe they've partnered together in the halves, which was wonderful to see. Their combination just worked really well, and they got the side out to a 20-0 lead at half time, and it was good enough that the Tigers just couldn't come back. They couldn't fight it, but I thought the Tigers were just dreadful. When you think they can't be bad, they go to another gear, and it's unfortunate to see. And they had soft defense the whole game, and they couldn't answer anything that the Roosters were trying to do. You know, Sitilu Tupouniua went through the middle so easily. And when you watch that and then put Morris in to score the try, very sad. Honestly, like it was just pathetic effort. But they only got themselves to blame at the end of the day. I thought Adam Dwyer, he played out of his skin and played really well. Benji Marshall didn't have the best of games. But I think one thing I would talk out of this game was wanting to compare 2 front rowers at the moment. Now, I want to compare James Tarmo, playing at the Penrith Panthers, and compare him to Russell Packer. Now, Russell Packer, who has been around the game for a long time, who was a New Zealand international, very experienced, played an absolute shocker of a game. Now, I compare him to James Tarmo because Russell Packer played 23 minutes on Saturday night. And that was due to the return of Alex Twal. In those 23 minutes that he played, he made 3 hit-ups for 15 metres. 3 hit-ups for 15 metres. In that same amount of time, in 19 minutes, when James Tarmo came off for his first stint for the Panthers, he had made 11 runs for 119 metres. So Russell Packer had played more minutes at that time before he came off the field. He played more time than did Tarmo. And 3 runs in 15 metres. I mean, okay, your side's down 20-0, but surely as the leader of the club, surely someone who's on the big bucks can deliver a better performance than that. I actually thought it was a very, very, very bad game from Russell Packer. Again, another inconsistent player that the Tigers do need to get rid of and get rid of ASAP. But we look at James Tarmo, who's off contract and his expressed interest from a few clubs. 11 runs, 119 odd metres, and 20 tackles within the first 20 minutes of the game. For Russell Packer to have gone 3 hit-ups in 15 metres was just a joke. And that really caught my eye. And that just really shows where the Tigers are being destroyed at the moment with their recruitment. And look, it's not ideal, and I understand, and they need some time to obviously adjust their salary cap. I know what they're going through. I'm a Bulldog supporter, but the effort was not there from the Tigers. And just seeing that stat alone really actually caught my eye and really disappointed me. So that was something that, again, the Tigers need to reevaluate and get some younger, hard-hitting props that can actually make a difference. And one of those players that will make a difference for them for next year will be Stefano Utoikamanu when he comes from Parramatta. But the standouts for me for this game, Siosiwa Takiaho, 18 runs, 150-odd metres, 82 post-contact metres, with 2 line break assists, a try assist, a tackle break, 2 offloads, and 41 tackles. Partnered with his partner in crime, Jared Hargraves, 20 runs, 189 metres, 92 post-contact metres, and offload and 24 tackles in his return. And with numbers like that from your front row, it just, again, it's simple. When your forwards are putting in the effort, it allows the backs to play the game they need to play, which has been fantastic to see. Now, the player that stood out for me and who's been a standout for me from the West Tigers is Luciano Leilua. Big old Luciano. Now, 17 runs, 148 metres, 77 post-contact metres, a tackle break, an offload, and 35 tackles. He has been a standout for me all year, Luciano. One of the best buys of the season for me. In another solid 80-minute performance, he played again on Saturday night. Just doesn't give up. And as I said, was good to see someone actually giving a crap when he was playing out there. So, again, credit to Leilua, but Roosters running out convincing winners 38-16. And now with Roosters getting more reinforcements back week by week, they're going to chase that three-peat very, very hard. So, looking forward to that. Now, the biggest shock for me this week, the Rabbitohs 56, defeating the Sea Eagles 16. For the Rabbitohs, tries, doubles to Alex Johnston, Campbell Graham, and Latrell Mitchell. Try and debut for Stephen Masters. Big Tavita Totola and Cameron Murray scoring tries as well. And Adam Reynolds, 9 from 9 attempts with Latrell 1 from 1. And I'll get on to Adam Reynolds a little bit later. But the Seagulls, defeating the Seagulls 16 and tries a double to Garrick and a try to Jack Kachevsky. Sorry about that. Jack Kachevsky, with Garrick slotting in 2 goals from 3 attempts. Now, the return of Wayne Bennett in his first game back since the COVID isolation was just phenomenal. Now, I spoke a few weeks ago of the Penrith Panthers and that perfect 40 minutes that they delivered against the Warriors. But these 40 minutes that the Rabbitohs played to lead 38-0 at halftime was huge. That was some unbelievable football and just pathetic and lousy defense from the Sea Eagles. Now, Adam Reynolds kicking, as I said, I wanted to bring this up because 5 to 6 of those 9 tries that were scored were from the touchline. And he has slotted every single kick in, and I was just amazed. Adam Reynolds has been a brilliant kicker for many years, especially with his conversions and the way he kicks the ball in play. Probably one of the best in the comp. Having seen him kick 9 from 9, again, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And the trial bagged 1 from 1 as well, which is good to see. But look, they were just so united, the Rabbitohs. That's the best performance they've had all year. The only alarming statistic from the Rabbitohs is that they haven't beaten a side above them all year. They've beaten the bottom 8 teams, or in their case, the bottom 10 teams repeatedly, but they haven't beaten any of the top teams. And with their draw coming up at the moment, they've got some top teams that they need to beat. And with that performance, I want to say that Wayne Bennett is getting him shaped at the right time and getting him peaking at the right time, but again, I just don't know. I think they need to beat a team in the top 4 for them to really catch my eye on that. But the Seagulls were just shocking. I mean, it actually shocked me how poor they were and how they performed. Now, again, it wasn't something that I expected. When it came to tip for this game, I did tip the Rabbitohs, and I thought it wouldn't be much in it, pending obviously how the Rabbitohs were playing before and the way Seagulls were playing with their many injuries. But it was just not something you expect from a Des Hasler team. To be down 38-0, and they had no answers for that first half. They just couldn't stop the roll on. And look, they could, even in the second half, they couldn't do anything to get that fight back. I mean, they conceded another 18 odd points in that second half as well. But Des would be livid with that, just not happy and copping more injuries as well. Again, a terrible run for the Sea Eagles, which was hard to see. But the 2 players that stood out for me, now obviously the try scorers, Johnston played another phenomenal game, topping the try scoring list again. And I don't understand how he's still unsigned. I'll say it every week until he gets signed. How someone like Alex Johnston is still unsigned for next year and how Wayne Bennett cannot fit this guy into the cap is absolutely beyond me and is so bizarre. But look, focusing on the juniors just quickly, the 2 players that really killed it for me in that game, Keon Koloamatangi, who is someone that has been blooded in this year for the Rabbitohs, a barnstorming game, 17 runs, 176 metres, 96 post-contact metres and an offload, to go with about 15 or 16 tackles as well. Big effort from him, especially in his first season in the NRL, which will be big for him to be growing more in confidence and for Wayne Bennett to be able to rely on him to play big minutes. And for the Sea Eagles, one of the very, very few highlights for them was Corey Waddell. 15 runs, 134 metres, 3 tackle breaks, an offload and 31 tackles. So the Sea Eagles need to get out of this rot and get out of it quick. They are dropping out of the finals contention week by week. And obviously losing to Rabbitohs by 40 is just not on. So Rabbitohs 56 defeating the Seagulls 16. Now, the Warriors defeating the Bulldogs 20 points to 14. Tries to Jack Murchie, a double to Jack Murchie, who I thought was fantastic for them. And Adam Pompey and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck crossing the line once again this week. Cody Nikorima, 2 from 4 attempts, goal. Defeating the Bulldogs 14, tries to Nick Meaney, Kieran Foran, and Will Hopewadi, and Nick Meaney slotting in 1 from 3 attempts. Now, I was very proud to watch this game, I won't lie. Again, being a Bulldogs supporter, I have to be right down the middle, and I was very proud of the resilience that the Warriors showed to come back down from 10-0 down. And it was a credit for them to showing some grit, to be honest with you. Having looked at the lineup and saying that Chanel Harris-Tavita was missing, just head clashed with Adam Kieran, who was a backup half, who also couldn't play and is out for an extended period, unfortunately. I actually thought the Bulldogs would win this game. And shooting out to a 10-0 lead like we did was fantastic. It was a good start. The first 20 minutes was great, apart from the penalty we gave away and that kick out on the full. But one shining light for me for the Warriors was the debutant of Paul Turner in the halves. He's actually a fullback. You may not know that. He looked like he just slotted in very, very well at 5'8". He's just an unreal talent. Another debutant from the Warriors that they must keep and hold on to and give him consistent first grade because he played it out of his skin. Now, the Bulldogs, they cannot hold the lead to save their life. I mean, this is another game that they've lost by 6 or less, and it's starting to really frustrate me. Even though I've tried to show that I haven't given up on the Bulldogs this year, parts of me has and parts of me definitely hasn't. But when you're leading a side 10-0 and you got that roll on with 2 back-to-back tries, you think that you can take the game and run with it. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. And just to mention as well, in the second half, Warriors had 3 tries disallowed. 2 to Paul Turner, and there was another try disallowed as well. And the Warriors just clicked to another gear. I mean, Cody Nikorima has been playing fantastic the last month. And I thought this game as well, he really carved up the Bulldogs. Taking up 3 try assists and the 3 line break assists as well. And getting a couple offloads there as well. I thought it was his best game. With line break assist as well, 2 offloads. So a big effort from Cody Nikorima. And a phenomenal game from him as well, which was good to see. Now, the standout for me for the Warriors was Jas Tavaga. Once again, 16 runs, 185 metres, 83 post-contact metres, 4 tackle breaks, 2 offloads, 34 tackles. And that includes him going off for HIA as well. Huge effort from him. Now, again, for the Bulldogs, not many highlights to highlight, but Will Hopewadi made a successful return from his ankle injury and played very well at fullback. A try, 26 runs, 229 metres with 2 tackle breaks, a line break and a line break assist. And a big effort from Will Hopewadi. And we could just tell that with Hopewadi there, our attack just went up a notch from what it usually has been, even though you can't really go up seeing how Bulldogs attack. But another game that we lost and is very frustrating. I feel like Broncos keep losing games for us to win and we just don't win, which is really crap to say. But it's unfortunate, but you got to congratulate the Warriors there. 20 points to 14, and another one that can take into the bag in what has been quite a disappointing season for them. And the last game of the round, the Knights 12 defeating the Cowboys 0. Tries to Heimel Hunt and Inari Tuala, and Callum Ponga slotting in 2 goals from 5 attempts. 2 of those, or 3 of those are actually penalty attempts, and he's missed all 3. And defeating the Cowboys 0, and Kyle Felt missed that penalty right at half time. Now, it was a very scrappy game and not one that was really entertaining. Both sides didn't play very well, but Knights did what they could to hold on to get the win. Very unfortunate to see and very sad to see Blake Green go down and confirm tonight that he did injure his anterior cruciate ligament, his ACL. It's just another poor run for the Newcastle Knights and with their injuries at the moment. But look, the Knights did what they could to hang on. I thought Kurt Mann was excellent once again. I thought he played a phenomenal game. He's been so good for them again this year. Really lifting him and moving into hooker, and his versatility as well has been huge, which is good to see. Now, the Cowboys, again, you almost beat a side like the Rabbitohs to come out against the Newcastle Knights and not even put a point on. Talk about inconsistency. They were just dreadful. They were garbage. Their last tackle options were shocking. I thought Michael Morgan didn't play as great of a game as he played the week before. But it didn't help that they lost Reece Robson an hour before kickoff. And they lost Jason Taumalolo mid-game as well, which was unfortunate for them. But again, while they've had bad luck with injuries, they just have not been good this year, the Cowboys, and a year that they just want wrapped up as soon as possible. You got to feel for Josh Hannay. I keep mentioning him, but you got to feel for him. I mean, at the same time, he's had to take on coaching mid-year and have to give the players he's had as well, and not having Valentine Holmes at his disposal, and having a decent house pairing as well has really costed him. So, but look, it is unfortunate. But for the Knights, David Clemmer was outstanding. Probably his best year since being at the Newcastle Knights. 25 runs, 270 metres, 141 post-contact metres, an offload and 32 tackles. Mitchell Barnett, 19 runs, 205 metres, 86 post-contact metres, a line break, 4 tackle breaks, 3 offloads and 38 tackles. I thought that was huge. And he's starting to find some form again, and he's been fantastic, Mitch Barnett. A very underrated player in my eyes. And for the Cowboys, Josh Maguire, 19 runs, 156 metres, 82 post-contact metres, a tackle break, 2 offloads, and 52 tackles. and another big effort from him. Just before I go into the news around the world, I want to go back to the Dogs game just quickly. One thing I did forget to mention was Roger Tuivasa-Sheck's phenomenal effort. I tried 26 runs, 334 meters. He just went straight through us and was a constant threat with a line break and 6 tackle breaks. So that was just a quick roundup of that last game. But for the Knights, look, they've solidified themselves into the top 8, which will see them play finals this year. Don't think they'll go very far, but for the Cowboys, they're just, again, a season to forget, and one they want to forget as soon as possible. That was a wrap-up from round 15, which was very interesting, and we're going straight into the news around the NRL world. Now, Liam Martin has re-signed with the Penrith Panthers to the end of 2023. He was coming off contract next year and added another 2 years on, and Liam Martin has been a phenomenal replacement for Kurt Capewell this year, so another very good signing for them. Now, Kieran Foran has rejected a 1-year offer from the Bulldogs, and he has been chasing a 3-year deal. Now, the Tigers and Knights have been reported to be interested, but there's nothing formal about that approach as of yet. If you want my opinion, I think that is absolutely ridiculous from Kieran Foran to want a 3-year deal. While I do understand he is looking at getting some long-term security, he has played 10, 12 games in 3 years. And I don't wish that on the next club that take him on, that sign him on for that long. Every time Kieran Foran, as much of a soldier as he is, as much as I love him, every game he's limping, he's holding on to something. It's a new injury every week, and he's more of a liability than he is anything. For him to reject the offer of $300,000 to $400,000 for one season from the Bulldogs was very rich. Reminded me of when Benji Marshall did that a few years ago to the Dragons, only to end up at Broncos for $100,000. But again, very, very interesting to see what happens with Kieran Foran, and to see whether the Tigers are dumb enough to actually take a punt on him, and even the Knights. Well, I'll take about the Knights for more for experience than anything, but it's been interesting to see what happens with Blake Green there as well, him doing his ACL, whether they're going to give him another contract or not. Now, Ben Barber, the former Bulldogs, Bronco, and Shark. Now, he has escaped criminal conviction and has been offered to play rugby league in Spain for the Venelica Huracanes. Now, Venelica Huracanes is how they say it apparently. He's got a clause in his contract that at any given time, should a Super League or NRL club offer him a deal, that he can get released immediately. Now, he escaped a criminal conviction after hitting his brother-in-law at a pub due to a family dispute. Now, he is going to be in Spain. Not sure. I think he's probably there already, or he's on the way there. But we'll be getting ready to play rugby league in Spain for the foreseeable future. This was just after a couple of weeks ago he played AFL for Mackay and slotted in 13 goals. So, a player that I loved, and someone that I loved to watch play, especially when he was at the Bulldogs. Because everyone that thinks Ben Barber thinks 2012 in the season out there. Another unfortunate case of what could have been for Ben Barber, but all the best to him, and hopefully he stays out of trouble wherever he goes. Now, Luke Keary has re-signed for the next 3 years with the Sydney Roosters, keeping him at the club to the end of 2024. A huge re-signing for the Roosters, especially them for someone like him who would have been worth $1.2, $1.3 million a season, accepted an offer for $925,000 a season, which is big for the club. And again, when you're always at the top and you're always near that grand final, sniffing around that grand final, I don't think you'd want to go to any other club anyway. So another positive signing, for the Roosters. Now, Brendan Smith has submitted a letter to the management of the Melbourne Storm and advised that if Cameron Smith is to stay and play another year at the Melbourne Storm, that he would have to release Brendan Smith. Now, the release of Brendan Smith would mean that a lot of clubs would be looking to express their interest and try to put in an offer for them to go play with their club next year. Excuse me. Now, a player like Brendan Smith, who has been biding his time with the Melbourne Storm, unfortunately has been playing prop and second row and lock and coming off the bench as an impact player as well. Even though he's a New Zealand incumbent number 9, he has been waiting behind Cameron Smith. But with the return of Harry Grant from that loan deal, it is going to be interesting to see just how the Storm will manage it. And we're expecting to hear from Cameron Smith by the end of the week on what he's going to do. My tip is that he will continue to play, but he won't be for Melbourne Storm. And I believe he would go to the Gold Coast Titans, seeing with his ties with Mal Meninga. So, one to keep an eye out for. Now, there has been talks of a potential swap deal between Josh Adokar and West Tigers winger Tommy Talau. Now, it has been public knowledge now that Josh Adokar will be coming back to Sydney in 2021. Now, the only club to have shown genuine interest and place potential offer is the West Tigers. The Bulldogs are no longer interested in Josh Adokar. Trent Barrett doesn't see to add another winger and pay him big money with the squad that we have at the moment and with the backs that we have. We currently have 8-9 backs, and with the inclusion of Josh Adokar, Trent Barrett they say that as a waste of money and not someone that he'll be looking to bring in. Now, word on the street is that Josh Adokar's management have been shopping him to clubs for $800,000 a season at fullback. Now, I'm sorry. That is disastrous. Josh Adokar, at best, is a winger. Not even a centre. He is a fantastic winger, and I love watching Josh Adokar play. I even love him as a bloke. He's a champion bloke. But to try to get offers for $800,000 a season, I mean, please. You're not even a fullback, and there's no point in you trying to get that kind of money. But you're going to a club like the West Tigers, who are pretty dumb and don't know how to use their money wisely. So it would be interesting to see what money they offer Josh Adokar, but they want to put him at fullback and move Dwayne to the halves, pending whether Benji Marshall will retire or not. And if he doesn't retire, makes things really awkward at that club. Again, another big money signing for potentially going to waste. So that's the talks at the moment. With Adokar heading to potentially the Tigers, that would send Tommy Talau over to the Melbourne Storm. So watch this space on that one as well. Now, as I mentioned last week, Ewan Aiken signed the 3-year deal with the Warriors, just waiting official confirmation, and that has been confirmed this week. Is now official, and he'll be heading there for the next 3 years. Now, Peter V'landys has come out and looks to make tougher rules on players breaking NRL contracts. He's now trying to bring back that old school, whether you have signed the 3-year deal, you'll play out the 3 years regardless of the circumstances. Now, we've seen too many players such as Josh Adokar and Ryan Madison in recent years break their contracts early to go to another club for more money. Peter V'landys wants to put a stop to that over the off-season, which will be very interesting to see how the players take it. But the players should shut their mouth. If you sign a 3-year agreement, man up, stick out that 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, however long you sign for, stick out that contract. Now, Trent Barrett has pretty much told Aidan Tolman that he'll be not offered a new deal from next year onward. 31-year-old Tolman wants to play on at the Bulldogs, and Trent Barrett has decided that he'll be moving him on and not giving him a new contract. So Tolman will be trying to prove to other clubs for the next 4 or 5 weeks exactly what he's worth, to see if he can screw himself another contract elsewhere. Now, Daniel Alvaro and George Jennings will stay 1 more week with the Warriors as part of the loan agreement with Parramatta. Now, the Warriors have had to release Albert Hopewadi back to Manly due to the injury crisis that Manly are suffering at the moment. Now, the Bulldogs are interested in bringing in David Furner as an assistant coach to Trent Barrett, who is currently the Knights' assistant coach at the moment. Now, the Dragons have also something they're considering as well, looking to blood out that boy's mentality and to bring him in, but they are also interested but have not made contact with him. Now, the Cowboys have drawn up a shortlist for their interviewing process. Todd Payton, John Cartwright, Josh Hannay, and Sean Wayne, the England coach, have all been shortlisted as candidates for the coaching job. Now, the Cowboys will start conducting interviews shortly, but inside from what I've been told, they are really impressed with the resume of Sean Wayne and may be leaning towards appointing Sean Wayne as their coach. Now, still around the coaching merry-go-round, Panthers are interested in bringing in current Huddersfield Giants coach Simon Wolford, the former Canberra hooker and Canberra legend. He's currently coaching the Giants at the moment. He has putting an interest out there to return to Australia, and the Panthers are interested in bringing him on to take the spot of Trent Barrett, who is obviously going to be head coaching the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Now, over to the Dragons and their coaching situation. Dean Young has put his hand up to coach the club and has started off his coaching career pretty well with Dragons win over the Broncos. The early favourite for the Dragons is Anthony Griffin, the former Broncos and Penrith coach. He was also someone considered for the role at the Cowboys. However, he didn't make the shortlist there, and he's being considered for the role over at the St. George Illawarra Dragons. They want a coach who is going to be focusing on their defense and can utilize their attack really well, and believe that Anthony Griffin, who doesn't have a poor coaching record, would fit that bill and be someone to lead the charge. In my opinion, I would get Anthony Griffin. I wanted him at the Bulldogs. I think someone like Anthony Griffin would be able to change the club culture, bring in some hard steel knocking defense, and would be a very good asset to a club like the Dragons. The Dragons need to stop trying to bring in ex-players. It hasn't worked with McGregor, and it didn't work prior to that as well. The only player that they brought that was not part of the club was Wayne Bennett. He came from the outside. They won him a premiership. Now, it would be interesting to see whether they do go with Anthony Griffin or they do give Dean Young the coaching role. My early tip is that the Dragons could play the same game they've been playing and just give Dean Young the coaching gig. But if you're very smart about it and you think about it, Anthony Griffin would be a much wiser choice. And the last bit of news, Anthony Seibold has officially parted ways with the Brisbane Broncos. He will be giving a press conference tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. after he addresses the playing group. Now, the Broncos were looking at offering him $1 million payout to go. I believe that figure has released to near the $2 million mark. But Anthony Seibold will come out tomorrow and he will discuss why he has chosen not to stay on with the Brisbane Broncos. And he has officially coached his last game for the Brisbane Broncos. Now, let's get straight into the round 16 ins and outs and the talking points and my tips. Now, speaking of tips, I actually got 7 from 8 last week, and the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs let me down once again. Thank you. And another tough year for them has also brought a tough year for me in tipping. So, 7 from 8 this week. Now, the team changes for round 16. We've got the Parramatta Eels taking on the South Sydney Rabbitohs on Thursday night. Now, for Parramatta Eels, Andrew Davey will take the spot of Marata Niukore on the bench. He's been suspended for a week for that high tackle. Now, for the Rabbitohs, centre Dane Gagai, who injured his hamstring, will take the spot of Stephen Masters. Alex Johnson has been ruled out due to HIA. Now, Corey Allen will take his spot on the wing, and Liam Knight will come back onto the bench and take the spot of Kurt Dillon. Now, this game could honestly go either way. With the way Rabbitohs played last week, I want to see them beat the Eels, and I think that's going to be one of my hot tips of the week. They'll beat them by 10. The Rabbitohs will beat the Eels by 10. Eels have been a bit clunky in attack in recent weeks, focusing on defence. But I think the Rabbitohs have too many skillful players at the moment. And with the way they're playing and the way they played last week, I'm looking to see that Wayne Bennett factor kick in and take charge there. So Rabbitohs by 10. The Dragons will be taking on the Gold Coast Titans. 6 o'clock on Friday night. For the Dragons, Jackson Ford and Billy Brittain will replace Corbin Sims, who's injured his calf, and Paul Vaughan, who is once again suspended on the bench. Now, for the Titans, mass changes here. Ash Taylor will return in the halves, with Tanner Boyd dropping to the reserves. Now, Tyrone Peachy will start at lock for Moriaki Fotuaika, who has been suspended for the week. And Aaron Clark has been recalled onto the bench. Mitch Rain will take the spot of Nathan Peets at hooker, who has injured his calf. And Beau Fermor will start in the second row, with Keegan Hipgrave reverting back to the bench. But Anthony Don could be a chance of returning as well after being named in jersey 21. I think the Dragons will win this game. I think with what they've got going at the moment and that confident game they're beating the Broncos, I do think I see the Dragons winning this one. I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think it'll be Dragons by 8. Will be another tip of mine for the week. Dragons by 8 over the Titans this week. Got the Roosters taking on the Broncos in the second game of Friday night. Now, speaking earlier, the Roosters do get some reinforcements back. Captain Boyd Cordner and winger Daniel Tupou will return from injury, with Matt Ukuvalu and Daniel Fafita out, and which will see Nat Butcher drop back to the bench. Now, for the Broncos, Anthony Milford is once again out due to that hamstring injury. Now, Sean O'Sullivan will be starting at 5'8" in his first game for the year. He'll be partnering Tom Dearden in the halves. Corey Pay will start at hooker as Isaac Luke is suspended and again for another week. And Brody Croft earning a recall on the bench there. Again, with Roosters getting more reinforcements back, I do see them winning this game. And look, the Broncos have showed a lot of heart the last 2-3 weeks, taking a leaf out of the Bulldogs playbook. I don't believe it will turn into a win. And I do see the Roosters winning by 16. So Roosters by 16 for me for that week. Now, the Warriors will be taking on the Newcastle Knights. The Warriors halfback Shino Harris Taveta will make a return from suspension. And he'll take the place of Paul Turner, the debutant, who played really well against the Bulldogs last week. Alicia Katoa will be back from suspension. Will start in the second row with Isaiah Papali'i dropping to the reserves. and only a few changes for the Warriors. Now for the Knights, they've named a replacement for Blake Green, and that is Mason Lino. Now he'll come in at 5'8", and take the spot there, and will potentially take over the goal kicking duties as well over Callum Ponga. For those that play Supercoach, that's going to be a bit of a hit, considering he could be a handy captain option this week as well. And Stafford Toa has been named, even though he failed the HIA last week, he has been named to play this week. Honestly, I'm going to tip the Warriors here. I don't know, it's a really tough game. Both these clubs have a lot of injuries. I just think that with the way the Warriors played last week, I thought they were fantastic, and I think they can carry that into what they've got going on at the moment and just finish off the year strong. But again, the Knights have won through on the trot and have found that momentum, even though they keep getting injuries in crucial spots of their spine and in their side. So again, I'm going to say Warriors for now. That could change for me, but I believe I'll be sticking with the Warriors for now, and it will be a close one as well. The Cronulla Sharks will be taking on the North Queensland Cowboys. A few changes here have been made. Connor Tracy will be taking the spot of Matt Moylan, who's been dropped, which is a very good call by John Morris. And Sean Johnson will return at halfback in place of Braden Trindle. Braden Hamlin-Ueli will start in the forwards, moving Toby Rudolph back to lock and Sorensen back to the bench. And Brighton Nikora will return in the back row for the first time in a few weeks, and he will push COC Fatalakai to the reserves. Sorry, to the bench. Now, for the Cowboys, Valentine Holmes will return from an ankle injury on the wing. He'll take the spot of Hamilton Tabawai-Fido, who is out. Now, Murray Taulagi will take the spot at centres over the spot of Tom Opicic, who's also dropped. Dejan Arce, the 19-year-old, will return at 5'8" and will take the spot of Ben Hampton this week, who has been dreadful the last few weeks. Francis Molo will start at prop, with Josh Maguire moving into lock for Jason Taumaloto, and they'll add Tim Gilbert to the bench for this one. With Sean Johnson back and Breton Nikora back, and with Andrew Fafita named in jersey 21, I'm going to go the Sharks. That will bounce back from last week's game, and the Cowboys will just give them a lot more dramas and impact them a lot more. Now, the Panthers will be taking on the West Tigers in what will be a cracker Saturday night game. A couple changes for both sides for the Panthers. Second row, Viliami Kikau is suspended for 1 week for that late shot. And hooker Api Korosawa has a calf injury. He's also out. Will be monitored week by week. Moses Leota will start at prop, with James Fisher-Harris moving into lock and Isaiah Yeo moving onto the edge. This will mean that Billy Burns will be called up onto the bench and Mitch Kenny will move in at dummy half. Now, Brian To'o will make his comeback from an ankle injury on the wing, which will move Brent Naden back into the centres and Tyron May to the bench, and Dane Laurie dropping to 18th man. Now for the Tigers, Harry Grant will make his return from a knee injury at hooker, with Jacob Little going back to the bench, and Josh Reynolds has been dropped. Alex Twal will start at lock, with Matt Eisenuth reverting to the bench. Now Tom McKaylee will start at prop, with Russell Packer dropped, and well done Michael Maguire on that call. And Sean Bloor has been recalled onto the bench as well. Even though that Kikau and Coruscant are going to be missing, so that's another tough one there. I still think Panthers may edge this one out, but I wouldn't be surprised if Tigers pulled out a shock to bounce back from last week. So the game to watch, I'm going to stick with Panthers to get 11 straight. Now the Storm will be taking on the Sea Eagles on Sunday afternoon, 4 o'clock. Now for the Storm, a lot of timely returns. Cameron Smith, Cameron Munster, and Jerome Hughes will make their returns. With Brendan Smith, who's broken his jaw, out for the next 4 to 6 weeks. And Riley Jackson Cooper-Johns making way in that halves. Now, Jesse Bromwich is also back after that suspension, pushing Teno Fa'asu Malawi to the bench. Now, Kenny Bromwich had injured his calf last week, and he's out. Now, Tom Eisenuth will start in the back row, and Marion Seve will come onto the wing, with Sandor L moving to the bench, and Albert Verde being dropped. Now, for the Sea Eagles, Tavita Funa has been named at fullback this week, with Ruben Garrett going onto the wing, and Jack Jasevsky starting at centre, with Moses Sully out for the season with that foot injury. Now, Martin Tapau starts with Taniela Paseka dropped, to the bench, and Joel Thompson returning from a tongue injury in the back row, pushing Corey Waddell over to the pine there as well. With those big reinforcements coming back for the Storm, I'm going to say Storm, and I'm going to say Storm by 20+. I think they're going to come out with a bang and just destroy the Sea Eagles there. And for the last game of the round, it will be the Canberra Raiders taking on the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Now, Josh Papali, Dynamis Louis, and Hudson Young will return to the starting side. Joe Tarpanay and Ryan Sutton will go back to the bench. And Corey Harawira is out of the side. Is out of the side due to the agreement when he signed the contract that Bulldogs had spoken to Canberra and said that he shouldn't play against them. Not sure why, but... And well, it's been good to see that though. Then 20-year-old centre Matthew Timoko will debut from the bench. If you guys get a chance, go to the Canberra Raiders website and watch the video of him being told that he's going to make his debut. It's a pretty funny video, but it's awesome to see a young humble kid getting to make his debut. Now, get ready for these guys. The Bulldogs have made some changes to their squad. They have decided to rest Luke Thompson for the week. Since he's come from England, he has isolated for 2 weeks and been playing 7 games straight. And they have dropped Jack Cogger, Raymond Smith, and Tim Nafai, as well as Jake Averillo and Sawaso Su, all being dropped for this game. Now, in their spot, Lachlan Lewis is starting at halfback, and this is really disappointing. I would much rather Brandon Wakeham. Well, I do understand Jack Cogger was pretty crap last week, and I understand that. Lachlan Lewis should not be playing for the Bulldogs. Again, not one player I do not like watching. Marcelo Montoya will be moving to the centres with Dallin Watene-Zes now recalled onto the wing. Dylan Napa is back from suspension at prop, which will push Aidan Tolman to the lock. Josh Jackson will go back from lock to second row, and Matt Dury will go onto the bench. And Renouf Tuamaga and Dean Britt will join the bench as well. Look, I want to back the Bulldogs, and I'm going to back the Bulldogs, but if you're a smart man, you would back the Canberra Raiders. With Lachlan Lewis in our halves and the way the Raiders have been playing, it's very hard to ignore the Raiders' form at the moment. But I'm going to stick with my Bulldogs, and hopefully, with the Broncos losing, try to get that win and keep Brisbane at 16th place. Bit of an odd one this week. There's nothing to rant about. So we are done for this week's episode. Thank you so much for joining me again on another episode. Now, as you guys know, we have had some requests for people that want to join. So we are going to be having a special guest next week. So stay tuned for that. Email it through at leaguechatwiththestat@gmail.com. Remember, as I said, we are on Facebook. Share it around to your different sporting groups as well as to your friends and family. And we are also on YouTube. So like, comment, share, subscribe. I'm appreciating the love that you've all shown me since I've started doing these podcasts. It's been an honor to be able to give this news to you. So let's keep going with that. Let's keep pushing through. As I said, send it out to everyone. We're going to make this the main show. We've got some big plans coming up as this show continues on. So looking forward to have you join me for that. But that is all for this week. Enjoy round 16. We'll see you next week, and we'll see you back discussing all things NRL next week. You take care.